Hello, my name is Louise Harris. I'm an art and English teacher in Landakotsskóli. I started my career by taking a degree in fine art at the Ruskin School of Drawing and Painting in Oxford University. And then looking for work after I graduated, I fell into teaching and realised it suited me. So I took my teaching licence in the University of Kent while I was working in a provincial school in the south of England. And after a couple of years with this, or 4 years, I decided I wanted to increase my knowledge of fine art. So I took a master's degree in fine art at Goldsmiths in London University and continued teaching. My current job, or current main job, is in Landakotsskóli, and I've been 4 years there now, working in the international department and also teaching the Icelandic children English and art. I am going to talk to you today a little bit about the exhibition that the Landakotsskóli participated in for Barnamenningarhátíð this year. And we started to think about this at the beginning of the year, and we had the theme of birds. We have tried for a long time in Landakotsskóli to work in a cross-curricular way, so I'm in constant communication with the Ævintýrafuglar in the 5 ára class and the 1st to 4th grade, and also in the international department. And I'm also in close collaboration with a colleague in the school who works teaching something called STEAM, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. So we looked at the theme of birds, and the Ævintýrafuglar talked to the children in the classroom about the birds they knew in Iceland and birds they knew in other countries. And for a British teacher, it's very impressive to me the knowledge that Icelandic children have about nature and about the environment. And I think that it's a fantastic resource that many schools have, these libraries of Icelandic wildlife, and we have them in Landakotsskóli, and my own children were in Laugarnesskóli, and they have a very good exhibition there of Icelandic birds and other wildlife. And I enjoy the idea that children know about this, and my own children often surprise me when we're out in the countryside and tell me what different birds are called. So we looked at different ways to work with this, and I'm frequently in my own practice work with textiles and work with felt or fiving. So I decided that I was going to use that approach with some of my students, and also as a treat for them, I was going to use some clay. Generally, when I'm teaching, I try to use as many found materials as possible, and I try to think about materials which have the least impact. So the wool, even though there are, I know, issues around the wool, I talk to children about the fact that it's produced in Iceland and it comes from Icelandic sheep. And I think that is something that we try and bring into every art lesson and every STEAM lesson in Landakotsskóli, to talk about what's happening in terms of our resources and our materials. I also, when I'm teaching, try to think about the way that the seasons progress through the year. So I would work with looking at painting and shades of white when the snow first comes, and I show them the Monet paintings. When we're talking in the 2nd grade about Iceland, we look at maps, and we look at then Louisa Matthíasdóttir's paintings of the landscape, and it's a ongoing aim for us to try and connect the children to their environment through any way that we can think. So when I'm working with the children in Landakotsskóli in regular lessons, I try to exhibit their work in the corridors in the school as soon as possible, so they can show their work to their other teachers and their other classmates, and also so they understand that it's important that their work receives an audience. And throughout the LAUM project, we've had the opportunity to collaborate with visiting artists, which is good for me as a teacher to hear other people's opinions. So I have a better outlook, and for the children to meet new artists and hear about their creative ideas. from Landakotsskóli, or almost all of the children who participated in the exhibition, came to see it, either with their class teachers or with their parents. And I think it was important for them to understand what it was to make work, to have people look at work, to talk about their work, to feel that they were in the presence of other artists in the museum. There are other children, but there are also other artists exhibiting in the museum at the same time. And I think that children should be encouraged at all points to see art making as a serious endeavour. The head teacher invited Margaret Blundell into the school to work with the Fimmálrabekkr and the first grade, and she told them about the domestication of eiderdown ducks and how the farmers made habitats for them where they would feel welcome, and the children were invited to make their own ideal habitats. And this project actually went through the COVID period, and Margaret was able to come in and continue working with the children, and you can see the results of this here. Okay. So we're also very fortunate in Landakotsskóli that we have Sinead McCarran working with us, and she's teaching a subject called STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art and mathematics, and she has made all sorts of different analyses of the way that birds fly. She looked at Leonardo's flying machines, and then she got children to experiment looking at the mechanism of flight and the shapes of feathers. And she made an animation that was included in the exhibition, and she and I are in constant collaboration discussing how we can reinforce children's knowledge looking at different aspects of the same subject. During the summer, I noticed a wasp's nest had taken root in my garden, and I wanted to examine this and preserve it. And I started to collect the insects I found around the house and garden, and had this in mind as the next project I would embark on with the students when I returned in the autumn. So students in the 9th and 10th grade have been making observational drawings of the insects that I've collected, and we have now started to explore different themes, looking at the way different artists have reacted to insect life. And I took the wasp's nest apart last week, and we decided that it looked very much like a science fiction spaceship. And I'm going to be looking later in the year with the 3rd grade at the theme of outer space. Their classroom teacher will work with them for that, but I will also try and reinforce that by thinking about how we can look at different constructions and different constructions in nature which might be mirrored in technology. But that's very much in its infancy. I've been working on that just for 3 weeks at the moment. So I think really it was a great opportunity to participate in the Badmenningarhátíð, but it's also something that I would like to say is that this is how my teaching practice works, and this is an ongoing project that we will continue to work with in Landakotsskóli in the future. Thank you.